All righty, it is Aloha Friday, and we are here today to deliver some fun content, have some fun with you, but hopefully you all feel as good as we feel, because whenever it's Aloha Friday, which is every day, by the way, for us, we always feeling good into that Aloha spirit. But we're going to have some amazing stuff today, so stay tuned for that. Dave, how are you doing today, and where are you today?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm in Salt Lake by the airport because, as you know, flying right when the show's over, flying out to Chicago for our big event, Soldiers Field tomorrow, Soldiers of Hope. So excited. Of course, you'll be flying in from Albuquerque.
Yep.
This is an amazing event, and so really grateful to make an impact on the world. And using a stadium like Soldiers Field is just so awesome. So,
well, I think you just shared your gratitude prematurely. Now, that sounded like a pretty good gratitude right there.
Well, I am very grateful. You know, it's been a lot of work by a lot of people, and now it's here. You know, anything in life, you know, that you imagine and see in your mind, it only becomes like you leave it as entertainment if you don't take action steps to bring it into real physical life. So this has been a journey, and now it's physically going to be here. So yeah, I'm really grateful for all the work that's been done. And gosh, even the response to TV, CBS did a special on it, or, you know, interviewed our partners in it today. Tomorrow, Mark is going to be on ABC. So, you know, we're trying to bring awareness to mental health, and it's going to take all of us, soldiers of hope, to tackle an issue that's so important. So yeah, that's my gratitude. Okay, you got it.
I'm excited to be in Chicago this weekend for that event. It's going to be pretty special. My gratitude, and again, reminder to everybody watching right now, if you're just tuning in, I mean, we did just start, but you're just tuning in right now, we have an amazing show planned out for you today with an amazing guest. And if you're ready to learn how to use energy to your advantage so that motivation doesn't just drift off and you can stay consistent in the integration of that energy, then just comment, let's go. I think we've already had, a few. We got Mark Haddis is already, let's go. And Pierre, who our guest, he's ready. He's let's go. We got a ton of let's goers. So continue to get ready to rock and roll here. I almost just ended the broadcast on accident. That would have been bad. My gratitude, though, just the other day, 2 days ago, me and my wife just took some photos out in nature, and the fall colors right now are unbelievable. We had our wedding photographer take some photos of us, and it was just bright yellows. I mean, we were just completely immersed in the beauty of nature, and I was just in awe the entire time. And if we can just continue to be in awe.
So you got some, I just got this, you got some great pictures of Beauty and the Beast, because your wife is beautiful and you're the Beast.
Oh, there we go. I might not be as hairy as the Disney version one, but we can all be a beast in our own way, which is great. Which actually, that's my gratitude is touching in with nature. But since you brought up being a beast, I do want to talk about real quick something that we want to start doing now that October just ended. We had Halloween, we had all this, and now we're going into a new month. But last month, I want to identify what we're going to start calling the Beast of the Month. And
let's calculate. Okay, yeah. It's in.
Calculate. Okay.
The envelope, please.
Okay. So the Beast of the Month, and now it doesn't necessarily, however a beast shows up in your life, whatever that means, however that resonates with you. For us, we have our beast system. This is our training course to help you be a beast in your own life, whatever that is, whether it's business, whether it's athletics, whether it's just pure happiness. You can dominate life as a beast in pure joy, love, happiness, whatever it is that you do. But this month, one of the athletes that I get the privilege to work with, Megan Henry, she is a skeleton slider. So for those that don't know, if they don't watch the Winter Olympics, there's bobsled where, cool runnings, you go down the track. Then there's luge, which is single rider and your feet first and, just flying at high rates of speed. And then there's skeleton for those brave few that go head first all by themselves down this icy track. And I got to say, Megan is an absolute beast. This last month, they had the Olympic qualifiers to try to make it onto the Olympic team. And out of the entire nation, only 2, maybe 3 females make it into our U.S. team. And she ended up 5, just barely missing the mark. But she's now in Whistler competing to still, there's a chance to be able to be pulled up and still make the team. And she's just going after. She's not letting that little failure. And we've talked about challenges. We've talked about failures and what you can learn from them and how they can make you a stronger person. And she's taken that and she's learning from it. She's saying that this is the most composed she's ever felt and, sliding before. And she is an absolute beast of all beasts, and we're going to have to get her on the show one of these days.
I love her energy. Today we're going to be talking about energy because we got, Pierre, who is the energy expert on how to, use energy to your advantage rather than going out of control. He's got such great modalities that absolutely, hey.
There he is. Put him in prematurely, but that's him.
But he's got such great modalities to help NFL, I mean, all kinds of, mainly, well, you give him, why don't you give the introduction to who he is, because he's just making an impact at so many different levels. MVPs in hockey, NHL, basketball. I'm going to shut up. I said you. Come on. Jump in.
Shut up then. I mean, I can't talk until you shut up. Well, one thing I want to do, because I just skipped over is in the gratitude. The only reason we do it, I mean, we do it for ourselves, but it's really for the viewers. All of you guys watching right now, let this be your reminder, even though it's a weekly reminder. Do it daily, but think of the things today that you're grateful for, and we love it. Last week we started the scale 1 to 10. How grateful are you today? And we got Aaron going, Wotar. That's our words, thoughts, actions, results. That's one of our beast triggers is Wotar the wolf. I love it, Aaron. And but right now, anybody watching, feeling grateful, not feeling grateful, whatever that is, let me get a little scale 1 to 10. 10 being the most grateful, 1 being, oh man, get out of here. I don't even know I'm watching this show right now. I need to be lifted and boosted. Let's find a gratitude. What is your number right now? I mean, I'm on an all-time high. I think I'm always at a 10 in gratitude. And if I'm not, then I'm missing something. So my number is a 10. I'm 10 in gratitude. What about you, Dave?
I'm totally 10. This is such a cool thing, getting on a plane with the family. You're flying in. Chase is flying in. Man, Chicago. I love Chicago. I love, Soldier Field is really cool. We're going to rock it tomorrow. So I'm totally at a 10, maybe above. 10 the other 10. Thing is,
oh, Aaron's above. He's beyond 10. Well, no, because he's got Veronica with him. So I think you added it too. Yeah. So they're both.
It's perfect, guys. Perfect.
Okay. So let's move on, and we can't skip over. I do want to get into the intro of Pierre. Pierre is awesome. I can't wait to bring him on. But we can't forget this week's Queek. And there, Aaron says, "Okay, 40. All right." So they're double. They're both doubling the ante. So the Queek, the quote of the week. For those that don't know, that don't follow me on Instagram, follow me at ShaneAustin10, and you'll know each Queek as I post them. And I want to see from the audience who knows the author of this Queek. Worry is the misuse of imagination. And I've heard you use it before, Dave, and I think maybe you forgot. You thought it was you that said it, but I did look it up. I found out there is a true author to who said worry is the misuse of imagination. We all have imagination, but worry can tend to be the destructive side of that imagination, because a lot of times what we worry about doesn't even happen. And what's the point of getting worried about something that's, not even going to happen? And if it does, usually it's not as bad as you thought it was going to be. So my message to everybody is release the worry. You're either going to handle it or not handle it. The worry is not going to help you, which moves us right into the tip of the day from Coach Dave. What is your tip of the day?
Well, my tip of the day, seeing Aaron come on, I'm getting a little echo. You guys getting it too?
Do you want me to here? I'll mute myself.
Okay, so the tip of the day, seeing Aaron, speaking out there, know that he's always with Veronica. They are a super couple. We had them on the show a few weeks ago. I am so excited about what these shows represent. Today is going to be another example. Pierre is a rock star. And so many people are responding, actually from all over the world, about how much they love the show. And sometimes I get a response. They're like, oh, God, we missed your show. Dang. Well, guess what? Here's your tip. Go to YouTube and just go to Extreme Focus TV. Every show is there. And I say take the time, because have you been disappointed with one guest that we've had? No.
Absolutely not. And Billy even says, hi, am I late? No, you're not late. You're right on time. And just like the tip of the day, even if you were late, the replays are always there for you. So go on.
Yeah. So I just say, go there and take some time. I mean, every single guest we've had has a different perspective. And it really, when you think about what's the most important aspect of life, it's who we show up and how we feel about things and how we bring our best to everything, because we have the power of our mind to take us there. And we got the best of the best showing up with different ways to get there. So that's my tip. Go back. It's free. It's such good content. And you don't pay a thing for it. This is our thank you and our being grateful to anybody out there to learn the things that these great experts have to give.
Well, it's not 100% free, because all we ask in return is just that you share, and comment and engage with us. If you resonate with what we're delivering and some of the ideas that we're talking about, some of the content, if you feel like it's making an impact in your life, why keep it all to yourself? Let's let the world, be abundant in that wisdom and knowledge together. And I love learning from all of you guys. I love when people chime in. Sarah's chiming in. Rock on, Austin's. I love hearing from everybody as we go along in this show.
And I want to, real quickly before we go on, Sarah is a rock star too. She's a coach too. And I'm so appreciative of all the different coaches that come on to watch this show. But Sarah, hang here. If you don't know Pierre, you're going to love when you meet Pierre. So I'll let you go on, but I just want to really, it's exciting.
All right. Well, let's bring on our awesome guest. Let me talk a little bit about it. Last week, we got over 50 words awesome. We actually had a counter. I don't know if you're counting back at home, but awesome tends to come up a lot. So Pierre DeBar, he was, an ex-hockey player. He's out of Chicago, which we're going to be there tonight. Later tonight, we'll be able to see Pierre. He also works with a ton of athletes, almost every sport, and he's worked with MVPs. And I'm not just talking MVPs, Pop Warner, or even college. I'm talking about NHL, NBA. I'm not going to say any names, but I'll tell you, he's worked with some elite athletes and worked with some amazing actors, politicians, CEOs. I mean, you name it. This guy has worked with the best of the best, the cream of the crop. And he's a beast himself. And, his background, he's in the holistic health and healing, but he really refers to himself as an educator. And that's truly, I get educated every time I talk to him, and we're going to get educated today because of the brilliant stuff that he can bring. And he also does body work and hypnotherapy, does a lot of meditation and breathing techniques, which are amazing. We're going to talk about a little bit today too, about harnessing that energy. But one of the coolest, most recent titles that he's now can call himself is an Extreme Focus certified coach. He got his certification. He went through our training course, and now he's just add that to his tool belt. He's got a lot of tools at his disposal, and now he's got the Extreme Focus system that we've talked about. And, if anybody's curious on what that is, we do have our next course coming in after Thanksgiving here at the end of the month. So message us. Let us know if you're at all interested or just curious. What is that? We'd be happy to answer those questions. So without further ado.
December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd to be exact.
That's true.
In Utah, you come for an extra day and go skiing.
Absolutely.
Or snowboarding in your case.
So here's just, here is just a, let's see, am I putting the right way? Here's a picture of him. Let's bring in the real Pierre. All right, Pierre, let's see, 3, 2, 1, and you are here with us, Pierre. How is it going today? Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the show. Let's just start off. What are you grateful for today, Pierre?
One, I'm grateful for talking to you guys, because every time I talk to you, I have a smile from ear to ear. So I hear Dave laugh, I hear Shane crack some jokes, and immediately I'm happy. So I'm grateful for that.
Is he frozen or am I frozen?
I can hear him. He's fine. It must be on your end.
And then also, I'm grateful for that. I'm going to see you guys here in Chicago. I'm excited about that. So
I'm looking forward to that too. So scale of 1 to 10, gratitude.
12.
Yeah, you guys are all overachievers. I feel like I give you guys a box to try to keep you in. You guys have to blow up the box.
We do.
No box, no boundaries. I love it. So let's get into this, discussion today. And we talk about harnessing your energy, which is for optimal results. It sounds great, but what does that really mean? And I want to ask you. Let's just put it in a okay, here's this scenario. I just got back from a big talk. Somebody just a motivational speaker, and I'm feeling really good. They just motivated me. I'm feeling ready to be productive, whether it's in sports, whether it's in my business. I'm just ready to rock and roll. And then I just kind of, then I go back to reality and life starts to happen. And I start to lose a little bit of that motivation. And then I back to where I was. And now I'm just feeling stuck. What is it that, now that you're, working in that you do to basically, I guess, continue that motivation, or what would you word that the best?
Well, integration is usually the word that comes to my mind, and integrating that energy that you're pumped up on. So I use the example of taking a workshop. You feel energized and inspired by all that information that you took in. Maybe you had some experiences that change your perception of life. And you're excited to bring that back and put it into your life. But if you don't integrate it and you don't start putting it to use right away by talking about it, by writing about it, by living it, that energy just dissipates. It just goes away. It kind of evaporates. And then soon enough, you're back in your own subconscious processes. So in order to raise your level to your game to a new level, you have to keep integrating those inspiring moments. You got to keep taking that into your life and challenging yourself to raise the bar. And that requires you to integrate that information. And really, all information is just energy. So when you look at it in that perception, it's just a matter of how do you pull it in? How do you ground yourself in that new information, in that new energy, and then put it to use?
That's pretty cool. And then I got to say what's up to everybody coming in. What's up, guys? Chris Ravelis is on. Sometimes a regular. We got the Aloha spirit going on today. I got to admit, we didn't even comment on Pierre's awesome Aloha shirt there going.
Oh my gosh, it's awesome. I mean, and we even color coordinated without even knowing it. Who
that
knew?
Was not planned.
Who knew someone in Chicago would have that Aloha spirit so perfectly?
Yeah,
that's so good.
It's my only one. Let's put it that way.
That's usually the case with a lot of our guests. They're like, hey, I got one in the back closet. I have only worn once, maybe. Last week we had Zach in the bro tank. So that's a whole nother animal. But
I do have to say about Aaron and Veronica. I mean, they're doing some incredible work out in California, and really what they can do to unleash some primal energy of releasing old subconscious patterns in the body. I mean, I did a session with them, and it really did unleash some deep old subconscious thought forms that I've integrated into my life from that session a couple months ago, and immediately I'm seeing results. So talk about harnessing your energy. I mean, Veronica and Aaron are two people that you always want to connect with.
Yeah, no, and it's amazing how people don't even realize that a lot of these things we compartmentalize and we push down and we don't want to face it, whatever that may be. And it's amazing what can happen when you bring it to the surface. You identify what your fear is or your challenge, and then you're able to release and soften it. And then you're able to really get those optimal results and then be energized. And let's get back into that. So the difference between, motivation and then that consistency of that integration that you're talking about now. You say that there's ways to put it to action right away, right? And a lot of times, it's one thing to know something like, oh, I hear it. Oh, that's great stuff. I love it. But then to actually do it, and in the doing, comes more of the understanding, right? But there's a term that you bring up, and I want to put it up on here is tangible energy, and energy is a big topic here today. What do you mean by that, and how can we harness that?
Okay, so there's a couple ways, the work I do in my clinic and when I work with teams or individuals, is it's one thing to talk about ambiguous energy, maybe like we're talking right now, or, you know, sometimes people will imagine hovering of hands. And do you feel that? Do you feel that? And a lot of people don't even feel. They're like, I don't know what energy feels like. So really, it's about being able to feel energy in the body, and those are the techniques that I can help people with, and it can be done through multiple ways. It can be done through breathing techniques. Breathing is hands down the quickest way to generate energy in the body, not only just through the oxygen metabolism process, but in my world, it's the energy, the Holy Spirit and inspiration we draw into our body, and that can generate a lot of energy really quick. And I'll show an exercise here in a few minutes. And then the other thing is using the earth. When you go and interact with the earth, you go into nature. I mean, you tell me, if you go from a stressed out urban environment and all of a sudden you step out and are dropped into woods or are dropped on the beach, you're going to feel energy, right? You're going to feel it in your feet. You're going to feel it in your body.
Right. And that's what I was grateful for, nature.
Exactly.
Perfect.
And then just so tangible energy and emotions too.
I'm having a little technical difficulties. Can you hear me, Shane?
I can hear you, and I can hear both of you.
Okay,
even though you're completely interrupting Pierre. No,
I can't hear Pierre. So I get magic, so I can't even comment. So I just want you to know, you're on it, and if I hear something, because it comes in every so often, just want to let you know that. But I heard the part about dropping into nature, and you know how much I feel that nature is one of the greatest gifts. Emerson used to say, if you really want knowledge, where did he get his knowledge? He went walking in the woods, and that's something he said. And this guy was a brilliant guy. It is in nature that you can get so much. So there you have it.
There we go. Well, I love it. And if you can chime in when, just don't interrupt Pierre when he's in the flow right now. Just kidding. So, hey, next week, though, you will be back into this setting where you're in control of Wi-Fi and internet. Right now, it's been a transitional time. So we have been a little technically challenged at times. Let's just put it that way. But Pierre, let's get back into it. We're talking about the earth. We're talking about grounding ourselves, which I completely believe in and love it. I want to just kind of pick up right where you left off. Oh, and as I say that, he left off and drops off. So we thought you had the issues with the internet. Maybe it was Pierre.
Maybe it was Pierre. So, I don't know because I couldn't hear something we talked about with Pierre before about rain. Did we get into that at all? I want to talk about that for a moment while we wait for him to come back.
He's back in the lobby. Let me bring him in. This seems to be a regular occurrence in our Fridays, but it makes it fun. It makes it exciting. Pierre, we got you back.
You're not frozen on my screen anymore. I love it. You look good, man.
Can you hear me, Dave?
I can hear you, baby. I can hear you.
Good.
All right. So where were we? Yeah, Pierre, take it away.
Well, we talked about tangible energy, and I was saying, and I don't know if you heard, Dave, number one way to get energy is through breathing. If you're not breathing, you're dead. So the idea that, as you enhance your breath and you start taking in more energy or more breath and be conscious of your breath, that's probably the quickest way to harness energy and to generate not only energy in your body, but a metabolism in the body. And then, of course, nature being the next thing is using nature as our biggest ally. That most of us probably don't get enough time in nature, but when we do, we are close to ourselves and probably most connected to ourselves when we're in a nature environment.
Awesome. I have to give a shout out right here. Let's Go by the one and only Megan Austin, my better half. She's ready. She's loving it. So I love this. And then Dave, you did bring up the rain. Let's. What did you mean by that? Since we didn't really cover that yet.
Well, rain can be a wonderful thing. I mean, we need it to have. We talk about nature; it needs to be there to help nature grow. But in our lives, so often, and I want to use this to really grasp energy. If it rains and it pours and it starts just coming like cats and dogs, well, if you're not prepared for the rain, then it's a flood. It's a disaster. But if you build pathways, when the rain comes, it comes in and it just is the strongest energy. So I think that one of the things that I really admire about Pierre is I believe in the work he's doing. He's preparing you for that energy to put it into proper use. into the way that you can really utilize it rather than let it be a total disaster.
Right. And that's
So,
go on. Sorry.
no,
I didn't mean to
I was going to ask. So, one of the things I work with quite a few NHL players, including the former MVP. Won't say any names, but the idea is that these guys are traveling all over the country, and also not only are they traveling and challenging their body in different time zones, but they are putting themselves in such extreme physical performance and physical demands. So, let alone what's happening on the ice as well as off the ice. So, to teach them some skills to keep them grounded and to keep them centered in who they are so they can recover better, which is a huge concept that we've talked about, Shane, in the sports performance realm is a whole realm of recovery. And how quickly can you get your nervous system to relax in order to perform at the highest level? And that is where grounding your energy comes into play. And as that example that you used, Dave, of being able to integrate and let that water flow rather than pool up and be overwhelmed and flood the gates. That's very much like life. We're inundated with information constantly. Everything's taking our energy away from us, from what we read and what we're, the roles we have in our life. So to be able to put ourselves in a position that we can actually integrate this information and root ourselves in a very tangible way, like the earth. And, that was going to help us, using the earth and nature is going to help us start to harness and integrate that energy and integrate the information and let alone put us in a place that we can feel better.
Well, that's amazing stuff. I mean, that you can actually harness it, like you're saying, like Dave's example of the pathways. You're creating those pathways through the breath, through the grounding exercises, through the earth, and you teased us a little bit with the breathing. All right, let's get a little demonstration. Obviously, we all know how to breathe, or else we wouldn't be watching or being on this show. But what do you mean? It sounds so simple, but there's a breathing with a purpose, right? Let's talk about that.
Okay, well, there's two ways to breathe, right? There's breathing through the nose and there's breathing through the mouth. So the biggest difference between those two versions is that breathing through the nose is about control and breathing through the mouth is about out of control. So if you think of moments when you're breathing through the mouth, there's usually over exertion in exercise, panic attacks, anxiety attacks. Those are extreme cases of feeling out of control, and it's usually through the mouth. And through the nose, most of the techniques I teach are through the nose, which is you're trying to harness your mind, your heart rate, your energy. But in this case, I want to show you how quickly you can raise your energy in your body between these two techniques. So right now, let's start with 6 breaths through the nose. Let's just breathe up through the nose, take some deeper breaths in through the nose.
And everybody watching back home, do this with us. I'm excited. This is our first demonstration live, so we get to do it. But if you're back home watching, I know, Sarah, I intend to become a master of channeling and harnessing the flood so it serves all of us. So let's all channel together with this breathing exercise.
Think the power of that. We all do it together. It's one thing to do it yourself, but when you unite in it together, let's do it, baby.
I'm excited.
Yes,
all right,
here we go.
Let's go.
I'm already raising. Well, I want to show you two different ways of raising your energy. So, again, let's just breathe. Take some deeper breaths in through the nose right now. And as you exhale, completely exhale through the mouth. Just let it out naturally. Don't force it out. Just kind of let it out. And immediately draw that breath in. See if you can draw it from further up your nose, closer to your eyes, rather than the nostrils. Breathe it from further up your nose. You can even imagine a big hole in the middle of the skull where, if you can think of a human skull, there's a huge hole in the middle of the face. And think about inhaling that oxygen and energy right into the middle of your skull. Yeah. Already you should feel your temperature kicking in a little bit. You should start to feel a little engagement of your nervous system. You might feel a shift in your presence of mind. All right, good. So nose is about control. We're trying to harness some energy. And then kind of just get ourselves centered, put us in a position where we can get our mind right. Now, the other version I'm going to teach you is if you really need to raise your energy. If you need to raise it quickly, let's say in the morning you're trying to just harness a bigger level amount of energy, you really want to do it through the mouth. And you're going to feel this right away. You're going to feel maybe some lightheaded. You might feel, what I would suggest, people say, oh, I feel dizzy. I don't know if they feel dizzy more than they feel maybe a little bit out of their body, but that's you raising your energy. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take 5 breaths, and these breaths are all going to be open mouth, and we're going to breathe in and out through the mouth. And when we do it, I really want you to pull from deeper in your chest. So it's going to look something like this. Let it out naturally. Expand in every direction. Do it again. Do it again. 3.
Is there a particular speed or does it matter?
Just like you're doing. Perfect. 2 more.
Hope you're all doing it back home too, because I'm feeling amazing.
I'm getting dizzy a little bit.
Exactly, but
not dizzy.
There you go. It's not dizzy. Now just hang out for a second. Float with it. Float with it.
Okay.
Do you feel your temperature there?
Yeah, no, I
you
feel that.
Yourself raising that energy, right?
Yes.
Something
absolutely.
feels different. That's because you're letting go of control. Control can be a great ally, but sometimes we need to let go. That yin to the yang, and Dave's a master at this. He has a power of being able to set some things in motion and then let it go, and then you let the universe and spirit work, and all of a sudden it appears and magic happens. Well, this is the case in this. Sometimes control is all we're doing all day long. And a situation like this is drawing this breath in, and we're only going to do 15, 20 breaths at any given moment before you pass out. But if you want to just start to harness a little bit more energy, this is a great way to just charge your body, kind of let go a little bit and start to float and get yourself building some, getting you out of your homeostasis, which is really part of what we want to do to change. We want to get out of our comfort zone, out of our homeostasis to access that new level of energy. And when you do, the key to integrating is not only grounding yourself in your principles and your belief systems and some of those processes that the beast mode is so good at, but then also harnessing and grounding yourself in nature and using the skin to earth contact to use it as a truly physiological grounding of bioelectric energy, but then also as a way of just feeling better, of truly feeling better, of going out and getting your feet in the grass, going out and touching a tree, going out and moving and doing exercise without your shoes on, has a whole litany of proven scientific evidence of health to the body, the blood, the brain waves, the cortisol levels. And then we can talk even more about it in a few minutes. But you guys feel different after that, yeah?
Yeah, no, and I want to say for anybody that's just tuning in right now, we just actually went through some breathing exercises with Pierre, and I got to say, and there's some that I didn't, I thought I knew how to breathe, but this is a whole nother level of breathing. That's why if you're looking at the comments, scratching your head, I'm floating away, and then we got Billy. He can't even see color in his face anymore. we got everybody back home joining us in this breathing. And Zach just got off a plane flight. Yes. And he needed that energy breathing for the drive home. That's a great time to do it too, to recenter yourself, all this. I'll tell you one thing personally. I do it every time I step on the football field. I'm still playing professionally, and every time I step on the field, every new series, I make sure I just take that one breath, just one big one to center myself. But now that I'm learning even better tools and new tools on how to breathe even more effectively, I'm seeing the power and the strength, because I've already noticed how much more focused, how much more composed I am when I've had a chance to take that breath. I mean, Navy SEALs, they train in this for 5 minutes of just straight breathing just to get themselves to a level of focus to accomplish a task at hand. And it's just amazing the things that you can accomplish when you bring this to your own life. Just the simplicity of breathing, but we're breathing with a purpose.
I got to say that one thing, when I'm not at one of your games live and I'm watching on television, I always catch that breath. So it's going to be fun to see you take the extra ones. You have a total routine. You get in, you take that breath, you do this little jump up where your knees come up.
No, I got to get the legs going. I get the arms activated, and then I get the breath. And then I'm totally ready for whatever is about to happen. And that's one thing that I've used breathing for. But I'll tell you one thing nowadays, even in my professional life and in this, and with the coaching and all that, I'll take a deep breath before any one of my coaching calls, before I go talk on stage. I get that breathing to help me center myself. And I'm going to continue to start implementing this stuff that we've just demonstrated. Now, you've also talked about grounding. And
I need to address that.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I was going to address that because, the terms that you might hear out there in the marketplace is earthing and grounding, but I've created another term, healing, Healing. So there's no coincidence that the word HEAL and HEEL are the same from my perspective. And the reason is, you look at a healer. Look at this picture behind me. I don't know if you can see it. This is a indigenous shaman painting behind me. But if you think of healers, true healers, from whether it's indigenous healers, religious healers, spiritual healers, you name it, what separates them from, say, a caregiver is the fact that they're just a conduit. They're saying, I'm running a bigger energy through me, whether that's God or spirit or earth, but they're opening themselves up and they're a vessel for more energy to flow through them than their own. And part of the only way that can work, just like a big piece of technology and electronic equipment, in order to take a surge off the grid, in order for that to happen, it needs to be grounded so it doesn't blow, so it doesn't lose its energy, so it can operate properly. The indigenous shamans of the past, they were touching the ground. They were as solid with the nature as possible. And then that was what grounded them in the principle of allowing this energy to flow through them, and then harness the mind, harness the heart and use that energy and focus it for whatever is needed, for the healing at hand or the goals. So this idea that HEEL, healing and getting your feet in the ground, is literally the way to root us in the nature, in our most physical way, and then allow that and use breath, the non-physical, to harness that energy in our body and raise our energy levels so we have more energy to have in our life. And then you throw in the principles of the beast mode. You throw in the harnessing the intelligence of the heart. There's some great groups out there. Heart Math Institute in Northern California. HAP, which I recently was introduced to, Human Accelerated Performance. They're a great group that's working with emotional intelligence. You use that and just truly the power of the beast mode it's transformed my life. I joke that it's been after doing the training in California, it was literally steroids to my whole practice. My practice has exploded even more than it was before because of harnessing these mindset principles with my grounding and energy work, using the breath and the body.
As much as I love glowing testimonials and endorsements, I do want to get back to that at the end here. But one thing you gotta say, these practices are amazing that you're giving us. I mean, it's not just being barefoot out in nature; it's connecting that breath, like you're saying. But I love that healing with 2 E's. It's reminding us to be, really get your heels on the turf out there. Get it out on the dirt. Get out there into nature and see how it applies to your life. Not just being temporarily motivated by something that we say, but actually going and applying the different things that we've talked about. And I got to show this because when Dave talks about my knee jump when I go into the game and then I take my breath, Megan knows it all too well, and she probably still gives me crap for it. And I got to ask, Megan, since you're at the game right now, one of my clients I gave a game ready to, and that's our visualization process within our coaching. She's in playoffs. Did they win today? Just comment in yes or no or win, whatever it is. I'm curious to know if they're moving on to the state finals. Today was the semifinals. So if you're still listening. So I want to move into the final four. This is the questions that we ask every single guest. And I would love to get your take on some of these. So Dave, do you want to rip off the first one?
Absolutely. And number one, growing up, who would you say is the biggest influence on your life? Who is that really shaped who you are today, Pierre?
It's got to be my dad. He was my hockey coach and my coach in multiple sports growing up. Him and I was the youngest of 4 boys, so I spent quite a bit of time with him fishing at our cabin, and we went to church a lot and did activities from getting up early and shoveling snow at the church to you name it. He and I spent a lot of time together, and he's just has such integrity in who he is, and such a humble man and a spiritual man, and that wisdom, and an educator. He's a retired high school teacher and tennis coach. Just that influence is really, I think, at the root of who I am.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, as we can see from a lot of our previous guests, how influential father figures, parental figures are. I mean, it just is a constant reminder to all of us as what kind of influence. I don't have any kids yet, but I I plan to be that influence like your dad was to you, and that's awesome. So now I'll move into
another awesome. Anybody keeping track of these awesomes?
Yeah, where's Zach? Zach, were you at the counter today? I gotta see how many awesomes we're at. I don't know if we can top last week. That was a lot of awesomes. That was we counted over 50 awesomes in one episode, which is pretty awesome. So my question number 2 of the final 4, if you could go back, what is something, if you could tell one thing to your younger self, what would it be?
Take more risks. Really take more chances, and that is across the board, not just in opportunities presented in front of you, but take more risks in expressing yourself and speaking up and seeing what matters from your perspective, and try not to conform to the situations around you in the way that you swallow your tongue and swallow your voice. Instead, speak up. If it means something, you got to get it out, because all that stuff and again, Aaron and Veronica will tell you that stuff builds up if you don't get it out. That turns into thought forms that end up kind of haunting you in the past. So that's probably my biggest part. Take more risks and speak up.
But Pierre, what happens if I take a risk and I fail, or what will people think of me if I take that risk and I speak up?
Life ends. Life ends. No, you learn from it, and that's a gratitude, right? Gratitude's the greatest transformer of setbacks. If you look at setbacks through the lens of gratitude.
We're losing some audio. Do you hear him, Dave?
No.
From a dark, here we go. I'm back on. From a dark to light. So
you got him?
Yeah, I got him now. I want to say, due to gratitude, Megan just reported in McKenna's team did win, and they're going to the state finals tomorrow. So that is exciting stuff right there.
Coach Shane, way to go, baby. Way to guide that.
Yeah. It's all McKenna. It's all the game ready. Actually, she did score the first goal. I did hear about that already.
In gratitude, I know this is all. I just got a text. My PJ golfer who's going over to get his European card. He just we're going to do another game ready. It's nighttime in Spain right now where he is, but he shot a 68 today, baby. He's in the hunt. In the hunt.
Boy. 68. Is that on 9 holes, or that's 18 holes? I usually shoot a 68 on the 9.
It's not your score. Sorry, we're not talking about that.
All right, Pierre, can we hear you now? Let's see if we can get question number 3 in.
You tell me.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. I can hear you now. So, all right, question 3. All right, so Pierre, tell us something that you like to do, for fun outside of your coaching. I know you love your coaching. That's one of the things that we all share in common. But what do you do to just this is so cool? What is that thing that you can share with us?
I play a lot of hockey. I mean, I play a lot of hockey. And, I'm probably one of the oldest guys on my team, but, man, I am passionate. I train for it off the ice. It's an important outlet for me. So, I'm in a very holistic, peaceful environment all day, and I need to go bang some bodies. I got to get physical. I got to, play an intense sport to, again, create that balance in my life. And that's something I love to do. And I'll probably play that in my whole life. I just love hockey so much.
So you got the breathing, the meditation, the calm, and then you got the smash mouth hockey. That's the balance You're talking there. I love it. It's just total. It's the yin and yang. It's just the opposites. I love it. Last question. Biggest life lesson you've learned throughout your journey, whatever that is, if it's in sports, if it's in your profession now, what's a biggest life lesson you could share with us?
You know, it's probably it's really that the journey's not on the outside. The journey's on the inside. That really, you know, the outside's an expression of what's on the inside. So if you, there's so many things taking us away from going inward. There's so many distractions, so many everything else, that the true journey is taking time to understand yourself, your mindset, your emotions, like how you feel, how you live, your wounds of the past, and spending time in contemplation and taking that time in nature to do it, which I'm a big fan of, or talking to someone. But when you change and transform the inside, your journey, the outside becomes magical. And that's really probably my biggest lesson to date.
Wow, that's a new one. I don't think we've had an answer like that. That's pretty awesome. All right. And this isn't part of the Final Four, but if people want to connect with you, we want people to be able to reach out. And if you're willing and able, where can people find you?
Well, soon enough, I'm going to have my website's launching here in about a week, surgeintegrated.com. You can also find Surge Integrated on Facebook. And then, of course, you can find Pierre DeBar on Facebook and go ahead and
spell that right
there. Yep, that's right. And again, integrating the surge of energy. We all need a new level of energy to take ourselves to new levels in our life. But you know what? New energy doesn't mean anything if you don't integrate it. So that's where that name comes from. And yeah, you can find me there.
I love it. Well, we're going to be out there in Chicago tonight. Where can we find you tonight? We're going to find you in a tub?
We're going to find each other.
Are we going to get in a tub?
We'll find some gastropub downtown. Yeah.
Yes.
You should. That's another story. We'll wait for another time to talk about the tub. So
I do want to learn about that tub. And I still haven't gotten any answers yet from our queek. Worry is the misuse of imagination. I'm just going to give the author. It's not Dave Austin, as much as he'd want to admit that or claim that. It's Dan Zadra is the queek. So again, for next week's quote of the week, follow me on Instagram and you can check that out. So quick recap of what we talked about today. I mean, if you're just tuning in now, go back, check out the replay, go into our YouTube playlist, Extreme Focus TV, and check out all the replays. But this one especially, we talked about Surge Integrated. I mean, your website and all that intangible energy and how we could use breathing. We learned how to breathe today. We learned how to breathe properly and effectively. And I'll tell you right now, I'm still floating a little bit. I still feel very focused. Dave thought he was dizzy. We almost lost him. But when you get to that level, I mean, you feel more composed and better. And then we got into grounding. We got touched into the true healing with 2 E's. And it's that consistent integration that's going to transform that motivation you might have heard when you feel motivated and turn it into actionable practices that you can use daily to really just reach whatever success is to you, whatever that is in your life. And in recovery too. I mean, we talked about a lot of stuff. So go back, check it out. And then I did say I'd come back to it. Now you can give us the glowing testimonials. Now you can totally shower us with no, I'm kidding. What is it in your own words?
No, stop.
What is it, since you are an Extreme Focus certified coach, and we do have our next certification coming up here at the beginning of December, what would you say is, like, you know, why were you drawn to it, and what have you taken from it? If you don't mind sharing.
One being a nature guy and an outdoor guy, using animals as triggers and using the beasts, the animals, was an immediate draw. But understanding that the subconscious really responds to images, and when you take an image, especially something relatable like animals, and pack it full of information that can trigger a response in the body, I just thought that was a missing component in my practice. Having the emotional work, the body work, the nature work, all these things, but to have some really easy implementable skills in harnessing these beast principles and putting that into action to harness our mental state at any given moment was really what I was drawn to, and putting that to use in my own life personally, and using some of those beats with my clients, and the pro hockey players love it. they love these principles, and they tell me, oh man, that's cool. I like that one. So it's an easy one, but as Dave says, you put these to use, and the animals speak for themselves. They will literally transform your life when you start using these in your own personal life, let alone when you start sharing them and get the pleasure of sharing them with other people.
You're a perfect example of being able to use the extreme focus principles into whatever you're already doing, and it just up levels whatever you're doing. It doesn't mean you have to give up whatever you're doing to just do something new. You're just adding to the value to what you already do. And you talked about triggers. A lot of people have triggers that are negative, like, hey, that triggered me into fighting that guy and I beat him up and I didn't even know why. I just saw red. We all have some type of triggers. So ours is all about positive triggers that trigger you into right action. And one word snaps you into positive direction rather than into a pummeling force.
Can we make an announcement then about triggers?
Make an announcement. We just tease triggers enough. Let's do it.
So we're always looking so that we know it's repetitive action that works, right? It's not just
like Pierre was talking about.
Right. It is actually to become that you have to practice it. Anything. The breathing. It's great to do it here, but how about doing it all the time? Then it really is effective. So Shane and I, we're coming out next week with Beast Triggers for athletes. So if you're an athlete, you'll get us 24/7 in your ear with all the Beast principles. This is one of the most exciting things in my life that I've ever been a part of. Then with Tony Boda, who is a guest on the show, who is a rock star too in business, we did Beast Triggers for business. And both of them are coming out. They're audios that every single Beast trigger is there. So I always, you just put it in your ear.
Plug us in.
Yeah. What's so neat about it is that you can anytime. It's like I was telling James, who's in Spain right now, if we'll still talk, but it's a little more difficult when he's in Spain. And he goes, I'm loving these Beast triggers. He's just listening to it and breathing it in. So you have it all the time. So anyway, had to throw that in there.
And Sarah asked Beast triggers for writers. They apply to everything, and that's the beauty of them. And it's now you have us. You can have us as a personal coach in your ear, but whenever you need it. If we're busy, if you wake up in the middle of the night and we're asleep, you can't access us. You got us at any time on your commute to work, in the gym, before you go out on the field, in the locker room. Whenever you need us, you have that coaching right there in your ear when you need it most.
There's fire, Renee. How about for teens? How about for parenting? How about, all these things? Well, one of my favorite stories is when I was coaching at San Diego State football. One of the players goes, "Hey, Dave," he's like, "Shh." I'm like, "What's he doing? What's this hush hush?" Come over to the locker and he goes, "Hey, can I use this stuff for school also?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that would be a big yes. You can use it for every aspect of your life."
Hey, so phone's on silent. Jeez, you're on live air right now. Don't people know that? But I gotta say,
all right, I know you know that. Pierre, Shane, owe you a drink in Chicago.
There we go.
Sounds good.
Well, Pierre, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thanks so much.
It is just incredible how fast time flies when we're having fun. I can't believe it's already been almost an hour. So thank you for all that valuable information. I'm going to continue to take these breathing exercises with me on the plane over to Chicago. Come say hi to you later tonight.
Yes, perfect. I'll take you through a session when you get here.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to that. So thank you guys for tuning in. Also, everybody that was here with us live, if you're watching the replay, go ahead and comment. Let us know what your biggest aha or takeaway was today. Let us know if you're breathing all right, if you're getting dizzy, if you're floating. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you in your grounding exercises. I'm going to start being a lot more barefoot. I'll tell you that. That's one thing.
So before I ever met Pierre, last thing I got to say, first book I ever wrote, the art director called and said, "Hey, we got this empty page. Can you in the front of the book?" It was kind of crazy. And so in the middle of the night, I woke up and boy, I'll tell you what, I've been with Pierre and had been barefoot in the sand with him there in the Lake Michigan. And it feels so good. But I wrote these words: how many beaches must I walk before I feel the sand between my toes? How many oceans must I swim before I feel the waves splash upon my face? How loud does God have to speak before I finally hear?
Well, let's just end it at that because that's beautiful. and I'm going to go try to feel the sand between my toes, wherever that sand is. So thank you, Pierre. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, everybody watching. Aloha. We will talk to you guys next week. Have a great weekend. Aloha.